Hey crew, it's Pitt, and I'm back, but we got something different. This is probably going to be the most important video that I do, if I'm right. Like, if they're right, if I'm right, if everybody's right, then this might be the most important video that we do. And so we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about this. Suspicious Observers. If you've been on this channel, then you've heard Suspicious Observers. I've told you to go back and check out their disaster playlist for a reason. This is why. We're in it right now. Like, this is the beginning. This is the beginning. But it is, like, yeah. So, like, that is not to say that we're about to die tomorrow. I want to get that out of the way right now. But we are in the beginning of the change right now. So, we're going to go and dive into the science first. This was yesterday's update. And, yeah, yesterday's update. Let's dig in.
Good morning, folks. Observer Vacation Week is over. Our Saturday Fly on the Wall podcast returns today at SuspiciousObservers.org, and we've got several things to discuss here today, starting with our star and geomagnetic conditions. The sun had several minor filament destabilizations, but no further CMEs in Earth's direction. Do have that coronal hole on the north there, which will amplify solar wind this week. But solar wind amplified yesterday as well. Looks like a combination of that small CME we'd been expecting and the heliospheric current sheet impact, which was enough to pull a lowest level geomagnetic storm overnight. Minor event in its entirety. Before rolling on, yes folks, we really did take the first vacation of ours in many years.
Good job, Ben. I'm glad. Like, you work harder than anybody I know, so I am glad to see y'all taking the time to enjoy it. I don't know that they have been out anywheres like significant since they did the RV. So
the kids got to see Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where most of my own childhood vacations were spent.
She was pregnant with the first one then.
We had a wonderful time, and that goes double for the kids. We truly appreciate your patience and understanding in our first week off in over a decade, even if I did show up for the morning show 3 times in the middle of it. But now we're back, and let's trigger people as fast as we can.
This is why we're here. I've already watched this. I still wanted to say that, but like, I've already watched this. I've already watched the next one we're going to do, because we're doing 2 videos in this one. But, like, this is why we're here. Like, pay attention. I know that scientific terms can be off-putting to some. That's why I'm going to try and break it up a little bit. I'm not going to try and explain a lot of stuff. Ben does a much better job of that than I do. That's why I don't spend a lot of time, like I send y'all there, I don't spend a lot of time on this.
Well, I don't know how most of you are feeling about the Supreme Court right now, but specifically on their EPA ruling, it's golf claps all around from observers. One of the core foundations of this channel is the folly of modern climate science, and in fact, we've got a playlist for that as well. If you
haven't seen it, check it out. The link to Ben's channel will be down below.
If you're new here and can't imagine why we cheer that ruling, watch the playlist found below the video in the description box. And in that vein, some scientists just never learn. NASA's new satellite to monitor the sun is said to be set to see all the energy the sun sends our way. But no, it won't. It's just the total solar irradiance, the light. As has been the downfall of that scientific field all along, can't see the protons, electrons, the interplanetary magnetic field, and it will therefore miss the lion's share of what they were trying to find. All that about the particles they are missing is in that playlist as well below the video.
So NASA doing this dumb thing again. Like, instead of, like, if you're a flat earther and you believe there's the firmament, then be blessed. You're not going to be happy with anything that I ever talk about. But NASA lies to us. I absolutely agree with that part of it. They blatantly lie to us. They obfuscate, and they do dumb shit like this. And like, they're sending out a sensor to capture all energy, but they're not capturing any magnetics or anything other than the visible light spectrum. And that's just dumb.
Update to the stellar encounters. Folks, they found a white dwarf they say will cross through the outer Oort cloud in approximately 29,000 years. It's far afield from their previous mark, one expected in about 1 million years, and sadly for those ensnared by the false Nibiru stories, this new survey can see all the small stars nearby, and there's nothing here now or coming anytime soon.
For myself, I've never said that it had to be a star. I just think that there's going to be some kind of anode that comes in to help facilitate the plasma arc. I could be wrong on that, and I am perfectly fine with being wrong on that. it can absolutely happen the way that Ben says it, and we're going to see. Like, not that anybody will be around to remember, right, and talk about it, but we'll know by the end, right?
Lastly, folks, another galactic survey team who doesn't have the galactic current sheet in their toolbox. Turns out the interstellar medium of plasma and gas and dust has a preferred magnetic handedness, and they can't figure out its physical origin. Veteran observers, stop laughing for a moment. This is a pervasive aspect of the entire galaxy, driven by its overall magnetic field and interstellar connections threading the galactic current sheet. That's the Milky Way version of the Sun's current sheet, which hit Earth this morning, if you can remember, about 2.5 minutes.
That was yesterday morning. That is the reason why we're doing this. This was yesterday morning, and when I do my walks, y'all, I do it as the sun is coming up. I try and catch it right when they're in the tree line. And for the last month and a half, 2 months, since the Thunderbolts project did the thing about seeing out, like the light coming out of your eyes and returning, like that really changed a whole lot of things for me. And one of the things that changed was part of my walk. And in my walk now, for the last month and a half, however long it's been, I have been trying to intentionally absorb the sun's light through the tree line. Like, I don't try to look at a bare sun, but I catch it when it's at the tree line, and it's filtering through pretty strongly, but it's not overpowering. For the last month and a half, I have been doing this. And this morning, on my walk, I could not do it. It hurt. It was so bright that something has changed. This is what has changed. I want to know in the comments if you notice something different with the sun today, because I sure as hell do. And that is like one of the things that I am looking for in my thing, like what we talk about all the time, is that. Like, that sun is very much more intense today than it was yesterday.
And it's a go. It's also the thing that triggers the great solar system shift, Earth's catastrophe cycle, solar micronova, and the next stage of Earth.
And I have shown in my videos how I believe that that is the same thing foretold in the Bible. Like, I do. I think what he is talking about scientifically happening is what is described as both having happened before and about to happen again in the Bible. Now, the timing, people argue about the timing. I don't know the timing. Whenever it happens, it happens. I am not a date setter. I look towards September for reasons that I have explained before. But I'm not a date setter. I'm not saying it's happening today. I'm not saying it's happening in 10 years. But I don't think it'll be 10 years. What I really believe is happening, and this is pure speculation, is as we ramp up into this election cycle, the other side is going to realize just how badly they're going to get trounced. And they're just going to roll out. It's going to happen before the November election. So what's before the November election? September, right? You got September, October, and then November. I think they're going to roll it out in September. I could be wrong. I hope and pray that I am wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. Because for it to correlate and line up with things that are happening scientifically, like, this is the time, y'all. This is it right now. I hope you have been preparing. I hope you've watched this playlist before. Ben has put together a wonderful description of what the Bible says is going to happen. Y'all check it out.
By the way.
And he doesn't do it that way. He does it scientifically. I'm saying it correlates.
Hey, that was the entire topic of conversation between myself and Matt Lohmeier. Fun interview we did there.
We're going to check that out in just a second.
While I was on vacation, and the videos are posted to his channel today.
As a matter of fact, we're going to go do that right now. Let me go ahead and pop over here. This is Matthew Lohmeier. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name. This is the first time I saw him was right here. I'm now a sub, and we're going to check it out. Let's dig in. This is important too, so please hang with me, yo. I know it's long.
Frame. We're up against a wall, so to speak, with some potentially devastating or catastrophic outcomes from this solar cycle, or the cycles that you've mentioned. You mentioned the 12,000 one, as if in 2022 we find ourselves approaching a boundary that we would experience the 12,000 year cycle. So talk to me about
That's the boundary he was just talking about in the last video.
About time frame. Okay, in case you can't see that, Ben's putting his hand up.
And I watched this and like the sun is different today, y'all. I know it sounds crazy as fuck, but it does. It is different out there than it has been as of today.
To his nose. Not because he smells something, but because it's close to the face.
So there's a very clear and easy answer to this, and a tiny caveat, like an asterisk on it. So we see that these accelerations in how fast Earth's magnetic field is moving. We see that these things are...
That is documented. If y'all have not seen that, he's got it documented. Like the fact that the Earth is spinning, it varies in its spin, right? I need to go a little bit faster, a little bit slower, a little bit faster, a little bit slower. But it's been going faster at record fasters than ever before. And he's been documenting and showing us that it's happening. And it is happening faster than they anticipated happening.
Happening every couple of years, about every 6 to 7 years. Given the rate that we've seen these things happening, the rate at which things are changing now, sometime between 2035 and 2049. Late 2030s or 2040s. That is your best time window. And I wish I could narrow it past a 15-year block like I just did, 2035 to 2049.
If you did, you might start to look like a kook.
Yeah, and
on September 21st, and
yeah, but
the fall equinox of 2038, you will see X.
The caveat.
And see that I'm really hesitant. Like that's why I made sure it was pure speculation on my part. What I was talking about a while ago. I don't know what's going to happen until there is the plasma arc in the sky. I am not trying to set a date. Like we will see it before it gets to us. I think I am again speculating that we will see a discharge before our discharge. We will see it happen to other planets before it happens to us, and it will be a visible discharge, like a grounding event. That's what I think is going to happen, and I could be wrong, and I am perfectly fine being wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not making any scientific assertions. It is just my pure speculation based off of things that I have read.
Caveat to that is...
So we could see that. That's where I'm going. Like, we could see that a year or two before it gets to us. We could see that 7 years before it gets to us, right?
We're going to jump back to something you mentioned earlier. In 1859, during the Carrington event, the last time the sun had anything close to a super flare, telegraph wires caught fire. They unplugged the machines, and messages were still coming in.
Think about that for just a second. This event from the sun burnt the wiring across the country.
First,
imagine
smaller solar storms we get every 11 years. We lose a satellite or transformers or have major large-scale systems go down several times every sunspot cycle. And the thing is, there's only one thing that stops every little hiccup from the sun from doing that. That's Earth's magnetic field. And so what I gave is my best guess for when this solar system shift, when the Earth pole flip and the solar micronova will occur.
Make sure you check out the disaster playlist from his channel. Both of these will be linked down below. You can get to the playlist from his channel. It is important to understand this because what is coming is going to happen. Like probably in our lifetimes. I would think it would be a lot sooner than that. We will start seeing things because things have to play out. But yeah.
The problem is, at some point before that, we're going to get to, and if you could consider us, we're down about 20% in the magnetic field.
This was a couple days ago.
At some point, we're going to be down 40.
I think that might be today.
50, 60%.
Like for real, I don't know. I haven't seen the show today. He's taking Sundays off now. And so I haven't seen that. But I'm interested to see what happened. He may even pop in with an emergency, not an emergency. Oh my God, the world's about to die. But like, hey guys, this happened. This is what the readout was today. But you can also find the raw data from the links on his page.
Every time we drop a little bit, it takes a little less from the sun to erase our electrical way of life and throw us back into the Stone Age. Something like the 1859 Carrington event. If that were to happen when we were down 50% in the magnetic field, coins could melt in your pocket.
Coins could melt in your pocket. That is a large size to be affected, right? And just think, that means that any metal piece of that size or smaller is going to melt. All the electronics in your car are going to melt. Like all your ignitions, like all the spark plug, like all the stuff is going to melt. You won't have it. And you can talk about, I'm going to put it in a Faraday cage. Not for this. Not for this. And it's not going to do you any good. Like, it's not going to do any good to have a Faraday cage. I'm talking about electronics wiped out. That's why I'm working on getting y'all the book.
We're talking, there's no more electricity on this planet for hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years. And that is a very, very conservative estimate, in my opinion, because you're talking about wiping out completely all infrastructure, right? Well, people in the cities are going to starve. They're 3 days, they're out of food. By the end of the week, they're cannibalizing each other, and then they're going to think they're going to raid the outside outliers. And there's going to be massive death from that, too. Now, that part's years down the road. I think that the camps come first. That's what I think.
There's no more civilization.
So even before the big one came, or the big ones came, you've got a situation in society where people are simply striving with everything they've got to provide the basic necessities of their life.
And that's what people don't seem to understand. Like, if you browse through the comments here, it's like, people, do you not understand at all? Like, your whole goal is going to be to figure out how to do the things that I've been telling you to learn to do for the last year. And we're almost at a year on the channel, but like, I've been telling you, stock up on food, like non-perishable items that you can easily move with you. Not to go crazy, not 6 months worth of stuff, but a couple of weeks. You're going to need seeds. You're going to need the knowledge of how to plant seeds. Like, I hope, even if you're in a city, that you have been nurturing some house plants. Like, really taking the time to learn soil mechanics and how bacteria works and microrhizomes and what they are and why they're important to have, because all of that is necessary. Learn how to preserve and can and all of that, because we're talking about a reset of society completely. You have to survive all of the idiots first. Like, even the ones who survive any destructive. Like, I think there's going to be a plasmark discharge. I think it's going to be plasma statically discharging and hitting the ground. Like, that's what I think is going to happen. That is pure speculation on my part. But some of the things that I have seen from Ben and from the Thunderbolts project have shown me enough to satisfy myself, which is all that matters to me, that's what's going to happen. That's what the book talks about when it talks about the fires of God coming down and raining down and destroying cities in a day, right? Everybody just wiped out. Bam, done. I think that's what's going to happen. There will be a remnant who survive, and hopefully they will be not idiots. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to be one of the not idiots, but if it's my turn to go, it's my turn to go. All right.
Luckily, at this point, the Earth hasn't turned over yet, but the weather.
This is very important. Y'all make sure y'all get back over there. If you want to understand the mechanics of how that's going to happen, get back over there. But what he just said, we're going to back it up. What he just said is very important, because that is what the Bible talks about. When it says that the earth will rock on its foundation, right? This is the event right here that he's talking about. The earth will rotate 90 degrees. Places that were barren will once again bear fruit, right? The skies will move, right? The skies will roll back, and it's all this event right here.
And luckily, at this point, the Earth hasn't turned over yet, but the weather's getting weirder. The animals are getting weirder.
True.
We are getting weirder. And as this lockpicker gets to work, There'll be more volcanoes and more earthquakes. And so long before, it's not like we...
And like, when I tell you that intensity on that sun was painful this morning, it was painful. I cannot imagine the amount of irradiation alone that increase that's going to heat the core and work towards that.
We go hunky-dory skipping hand in hand until 2042 or whatever, when all of a sudden the sun micronovas and the earth flips over. Nobody is going to arrive at that day without thinking Earth is in big trouble and has been for a long time. It is, in fact, my prediction.
When the sun...
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I cut you off at a critical point.
I was going to say, it is my prediction that we will lose global power before the solar micronova and pole reversal, simply because when Earth's magnetic field dips to a certain point, we can't avoid solar flares forever. Even small hiccups in the solar wind would be the particle stream coming out from the sun. Things we take on a weekly basis now could literally take down continental power grids or the whole world.
Absolutely right. An event like the event that's coming is going to encompass the world. It's going to be so significant that it's going to wrap all the way around it.
And that,
like, I think we're going to see a sign in the sky. Like, I'm not going off any deep ends until I see a literal sign in the sky. But like, I think we're close.
That's really what we're looking at as early as any day now.
That sun is different today, y'all.
Earth's magnetic field being down.
And I know people gonna call me crazy. I don't care.
20% is already a big deal. We are approaching the peak of that 11-year cycle. We're not quite there yet, but when we hit that peak, we're going to have a couple of years of increased risk. I'd probably put us at about a 1 in 5 chance of losing the global grids this 11-year cycle, which would be over the next 3 to 4 years, maybe next week if we get really unlucky. But then, of course, after that, 11 years later, which should be sometime in the 2030s, what if we're down 40% in the magnetic field or 50%? I struggle to see us getting through that 11-year cycle without something major happening. Now, of course, that could be 2034, and then in 2035...
to be given new bodies.
The sun could micronova and the Earth flips over.
That means that they're going to take the old one, by the way. Hey, for those of y'all who are uninitiated, I hold some unconventional views of the Bible. And what he says when he gives you a glorified body, and then when you get the new body, it means that the old one goes away, right? When this event just... Okay.
Or so, it's almost like we wouldn't have that long, but it's also possible that we're going to get whacked next week, and that the solar micronova and Earth turning over is still 20 years away. And what do you do when you're thrown back into the Stone Age?
Yeah, well, what do you do? And that's, I'd like...
Restart civilization. I'm working on getting y'all a manual.
Yes,
and
the sun.
Like, I can deal with I'm not trying to do a survival manual and this is what you can eat. I'm trying to do a basic spiritual reboot manual. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yes.
Get the focus back on God, get this thing going in the right direction.
Here with that question.
Yes,
The sun turns black. But for how long?
I would guess about 3 days. But there's really no way.
I would guess that too. Probably for different reasons. Because I've seen it written about in a couple of different places.
Why? Because we've got records of that?
Yeah, because we've got records of it. And to be honest, Christians, I am with you. We have the same answer. The Egyptian records of this are better than ours. Just take the lick. They're better than... They did a better job recording this than we did. Anyway,
And say, I don't see that as a lick. I know some people do, but like, I'm with Ben on this one. Like, I don't see that as a lick. It's just like, well, they kept better records.
Yes.
Man, boy, them records.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to get into that today.
It's going to happen because coming with this thing in the galaxy, it's basically an electromagnetic wave. We call it the electric current sheet. And for the same reason that a Swiffer duster swept all around your home is going to have a whole bunch of dust on it at the end of it, this electric sheet is full of dust. the kind of dust that would get attracted to an electromagnetic thing like the sun. And so at the same time as this electric current sheet is delivering an electromagnetic punch to the sun, we are going to dump dust and other material onto it. And in fact, we are already noticing the dust increasing in the inner solar system and in the uppermost atmosphere of the sun, which they call corona. The corona. Shockingly enough. And so the dust is already arriving. The magnetic punch already hit Pluto and Neptune. But what?
And I think we're going to get to see the next ones. That's what I think. I think we get to see the next ones coming on in.
What happens is we're dumping this dust on the sun over the next several years to a decade or two, and then the sun takes the magnetic punch.
Right.
All of a sudden, you've got...
Then we get a punch.
Then we get a punch back from the sun. And of course, I wish I had a better time frame from that, but I kind of think you might be right. If I was to try to pick
you can't do all things, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Y'all make sure y'all get back over to Matt Lohmeier and Suspicious Observers. I will provide the link to both down below. Give them a like, give them a share, give them a sub, throw them a comment. Let them know you appreciate what they're doing. It is hard work for these independent scientists to get this information out to us, and we appreciate all the work that they do. Ben, thank you for this. Tell Kat thank you too. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I hope that I brought a little bit of enlightenment to a very serious topic. I hope that you get back over to these pages and watch this yourself. Make sure you get back and show the support, because it is important to know what is about to happen. What is about to happen and how it will affect you personally. Are you in a lowland, coastal area? You might want to really pay attention to what is going on. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, this has been Pittstake. Peace.